It's 3 a.m. and I'm stressed out about my business. Overwhelm is setting in and I can barely breathe. My chest is heavy, I'm in cold sweats, while next to me, my wife is sleeping soundly and I'm having a borderline panic attack. So I keep telling myself, pull it together, Nelson, you're better than this. Sound familiar? Well, that was my reality for much of 2023. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I did to break out of the funk and get my business humming again. Thank God. I finally got back to having better nights of sleep. But here's a warning I have for you. The solution I'm about to share with you might just piss you off. So here's the truth. You didn't get this far by half-assing anything. You're a powerful species, right? You're the kind of person that shows up for yourself in really powerful ways. And as such, as you've built your business and you've gained momentum and you've built a team, you've gotten to a place where suddenly the realities of things that are outside your control start to affect you. Like these kinds of realities smack us in the face and they're heavy, they hit us hard, they're like a punch to the gut. What happens is the energy that comes from all of that is built on science, where we have chemicals flood through our veins, cortisol and adrenaline. Your brain is actually in this fight or flight mode. So all throughout the middle of the night, all of a sudden these chemicals kick in and it's like frickin' Barnum and Bailey's clown circus car reels into our head and all the clowns start jumping out one after another with every little thought, every little idea, every little thing that could possibly destroy us. We call that the 3 a.m. threats. Those 3 a.m. threats pop up and they scream at us. And what I'm about to share with you is a transformative tool that you can implement to stop this cycle, because that's what it is. It's an ongoing cycle of where you're like constantly putting out fires, constantly trying to solve problems, constantly having to address all of these things in your brain, because your brain is this incredible machine that's constantly wanting to get answers. And yet, in order for you to dial back that fight, flight type mechanism, you're gonna have to be really intentional. So here's what we know. You and I, in many ways, are control freaks. Someone told me this. They said, life is very much like golf. The harder you try, the worse you do. And this gets down to the rub. We are trying harder and harder to fix our problems and yet making no progress. This is the counterintuitive answer I have for you, the one that you've been looking for. And it's simply this: let go. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, yeah, that's the last thing I want to do. It's the last thing that's even possible to do. How can you even say that to me? I guess, and I would tell you, like, this is the thing you'd understand is that the more you're trying to control, the more you're leaning into scarcity, the more you're leaning into desperation, the more you're leaning into these negative energy aspects that are playing out throughout your workplace. The way you interact with those around you, that snappiness that you're having at people is because your expectations of them perhaps are in a place where you want them to do something. You want to manipulate them into something to get some kind of relief. Or maybe you go into a sales conversation and your smell of desperation that you need them to buy your product or service or to make that investment. And suddenly they're like, oh, something's weird about that guy. He's got a weird, strange energy, because you're in a desperate state. That constant stress and anxiety is building up into a sense and desire for control, which only increases the level of scarcity and desperation. You are in a place where you are striving and you are exerting and you are trying harder and harder, and yet it's only revealing to everything and everyone around you that you're in a state of weakness. And I would tell you, or better yet, remind you that you are not a victim, that you are powerful. Look at everything you've built. You have come this far, and yet you didn't just come this far only to come this far. You got this far to change, to grow, to transform, to step into a new reality, to operate on a different level. And what this thing that you're experiencing is telling you and inviting you to is to find a different way. So here's what I want to encourage you to do is get to that place where you let go. Get to that place where you release. Because as you try and control, you actually bring things into a very myopic, scarce state where it can only operate in a certain way, and it can only exist in a certain space, and it can only play out in a certain fashion. And now you've limited the universe from creating opportunities for you that are exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask, think, dream, or dare imagine, because they can only operate like this. So when you go to this place and you step into this abundance and step into this flow, step into this letting go, as you see different thoughts in your head and in your imagination at that 3M threats stage, find a way to release it. Whatever it is that you have to gamify in your head, you just let it go and trust that the universe has your back. Trust that the people on your team are going to help you. Trust that there are people who support you. Trust that there are others that want you to win. And give yourself permission to attract opportunity, to attract funding or financing, to attract sales. And get to this place where now you're no longer in those desperate acts, no longer in that place of scarcity, no longer in that place of neediness. And now all of a sudden you get in this place of flow. Imagine like a hose with water flowing through it. And it's as if in this state you have been gripping so tightly and you've stopped the flow of opportunity, stopped the flow of possibility. But if you let go, what could be possible? Suddenly things can flow, and out of nowhere, someone says, hey, what's this thing you're doing? I totally want to get behind it. Hey, that product service, I just thought of you. I want to make a purchase. Like all these different things happen because in the same way, your best ideas never came from a 6-hour marathon of a board meeting. Your best ideas came from being in the shower, on your way to the car, shopping at whatever grocery store, and suddenly, bing, you got an idea. Bing, you got a revelation. Bing, you got a creative thing because you are relaxed, at rest, in the calm. When you let go of all of that control, you actually gain more power. While I cannot promise you that you are not going to have those 3M threats, what I can promise you is that if you then step into letting go, that you'll release the cortisol, release the adrenaline, release the anxiety, the pressure, the anxiousness. And you'll step in a place where people want to be around you. People want to buy from you. People want to celebrate you. People want to be you. This is a power of leadership that most people cannot allow themselves to get to, but that's not you. This is the invitation and the reminder that you can step into something bigger, better, and more, that you can be this leader and create this thing that you see inside you. And if you're anything like me, those pressures that you face can wreak havoc in those other personal areas of your life as well. And so in the next video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can tackle that and conquer it in your personal life too.